Hello! What is up, everybody? I am Aaron Knoll back here with another episode of After Dark. Once again, unless something changes at the last minute, unfortunately, it looked like Maddie was busy with the kid again this week. Thanks for that. And couldn't be here, but we are back to be here for After Dark. We have some interesting things to talk about, and we're about 45 minutes late, so it's a normal show as usual. We'll go ahead and introduce the rest of the people that are here for the moment, starting with the men of the hour. Their show is blowing up views on Disney Plus, and we're just not going to talk about it. Nicky and Devin, the Mandalorians. I removed them from the stream instead of going to their stream, but yeah, they're there.
You said stream.
Try to drink with your Mandalorian helmet on without spilling. There, Mando challenge right there.
Mando does it. It just makes
Mando
a hiss.
does do it, yeah. You gotta lift it up a little bit.
And then Baby Yoda looks at him like, "Aw."
Without showing your face. It's the Mando challenge.
And Devin, wordy as
And dye
ever.
everything blue.
And dye everything blue.
Yeah, everything you eat, all food is blue now.
That's a fucking spoiler, man. Come on. We'll go ahead and move on to what is it? Grogu? Is that how you pronounce that? I don't know.
That's a spoiler.
It's only a spoiler if you make it a spoiler, assholes.
You're a spoiler.
Yeah, your mom's a spoiler.
Stop spoiling Dragon Ball Z.
It's just a bunch of random letters assortment of letters that I put on the screen as my name. Don't take anything by it. I have no idea what you're talking about. It's just
I think it's Dragon Ball Z.
Right, DBZ.
All right, I'm moving
Grogu?
away from this horror show. We're joined by Jacob West as well. Pop is out of bed late tonight to join us.
It's not that late.
Well,
oh
for
yeah,
you.
that's
For
right.
me, it's 11 o'clock.
Yeah, you're a child and live in Florida, but it's okay. It's
Those are not
it's
mutually
just a
exclusive.
it's a random assortment of letters. Just don't Google it if you don't want to know what it means,
And please don't put it in the comments.
because we will find you and we will kill you.
I've actually heard people saying, like they were pronouncing it Grogu. And I'm like, what's Grogu? Is that like Al Gore's hair gel? Grogu? We got some Grogu here.
Al Gore's favorite hair. He's not a Dapper Dan man. He's a Grogu guy.
Where is Al Gore? What happened to that guy?
He died trying to find Man Bear Pig.
Still waiting on.
He's dead.
Yeah.
Who's that guy in the helmet in the second episode?
Jesus.
I was gonna say that's his hair care product is the mixture of semen and blood from Man Bear Pig, but
Grogu. Yeah. Oh. Ew. No. No, thank you. Where's the no thank you one? God.
Oh.
Yeah, no thank you.
Oh, God. Okay. All right. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and move on from all of this.
Go for it.
We have topics, things that happened in relation to these things called movies that I guess we all sort of kind of like that happened this week. And unfortunately, the first one is no less gross than whatever the hell we were just talking about. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. That was a terrible sentence.
Was it the Grindelwald news?
Well,
why is it
spoiler?
I don't know, man. It's a story that's been building over the last few weeks. Let's try and get sentence structure together here. It's a story that's been building over the last few weeks, and we decided we're going to tackle it first here as the kind of big piece of news of the night. Now, at this point, I think close to a month after Johnny Depp was vacated from the role of Gellert Grindelwald in the Fantastic Beasts franchise, the long-rumored replacement...
His name's
Gellert.
His long-rumored replacement is now officially confirmed as Mads Mikkelsen, a man with a name as entertaining as Gellert Grindelwald, will be taking over the role in the upcoming third Fantastic Beasts film, presumably to carry on in the fourth and fifth, unless they just plan on recasting the role every movie. That would at least make it slightly entertaining. I'm
like
calling
that.
Jim Carrey for the fourth one. No, but with that being said, Mads Mikkelsen taking over. Obviously, there's a lot of different angles we can approach this story from. We can approach it on the movie itself, we can approach it, which we did last week when we were discussing the rumor of it with myself, Matt Beer, and Ryan Payne. Or we can approach it head on through the court case, whatever you guys would like. But what do you guys think? The final decision in terms of how it affects the film has been made. There is no room for Johnny Depp to squeeze back in. Mads Mikkelsen has taken over the role.
It shows what direction, like I was saying before the show, we had a little like healthy debate a few weeks ago about like where the best direction to take this was. I was one of the people saying Colin Farrell, just right around it, get Colin Farrell because I love Colin Farrell. But this clearly states that like this is a statement from them that, okay, we're just slipping in Mads Mikkelsen. We're not going to act like it's a different character. We're not going to push the storyline in a different direction to make him look a certain way again. It's just Mads Mikkelsen is Grindelwald right now, and you can go into it like you would with any other recasting, kind of like 90s where like Batman was a different person, but they didn't necessarily reboot it. It's just a different actor playing the role now. Let's go.
Yeah, you're right. I think the Batman is actually a very interesting comparison because it's often not really like talked about, but it is correct. You know, back in the 90s, those 4 films are technically meant to be one franchise, and they went through
Michael
2
Goose
different
and all
Batman
of them
changes.
Guff.
So it's very interesting. What else do you guys think about this?
I think it's Kevin's turn to
I think it's fantastic. I think it brings to the Grindelwald films a new dynamic, which it needed, kind of a kick in the ass, because obviously, if you ask anybody that's any that knows anything about either follows the Harry Potter films or just the Fantastic Beasts films themselves, as a whole, that the Grindelwald thing has been the worst part of it so far. So Mads Mikkelsen is bringing in like a whole new side to this character, I guess, and he'll bring a whole new fan base along with that. People who aren't even Potterheads will come along with him, and maybe even they'll start watching, every other film. So I think it's only going to be good things for the franchise as a whole.
Absolutely. And
for you.
On that note, before we get to Jacob and or Devin, I'll go ahead and take this break to bring in another panelist, someone who actually discussed the rumor potentiality about this at the end of last week's show. And he's here again, Mr. Ryan Payne, for the 2nd week in a row. How's it going, man?
Booyah! What's up, guys? Sorry for the bed here. I did so many fucking chores within the last 3 hours, so I just saw like notification. I'm like, oh, let me just see if I can join you guys. Thanks for letting me on.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. So I'll go ahead and go to Jacob first if you have anything you want to talk about with this, man. Mads Mikkelsen officially in as Gellert Grindelwald. No longer a rumor, no longer a doubt.
I mean, it does kind of suck because of what happened with Johnny Depp. And especially what Warner Brothers has not done in Aquaman 2. But that's a discussion for a different day. I really don't care, though. I haven't seen any of the Fantastic Beasts movies. It might be a while before I do because I've heard that they're not the best. And I'm not a huge Mads Mikkelsen fan either. So,
ooh, man,
I know,
like,
right?
What he brings to like geek movies, like Caecilius, and he's Hannibal Lecter. I know that's not geek, but it's a fandom style movie. Like, he really takes on those characters and every side of them, and I think he'll do no less than that with Grindelwald.
I thought he was great in Casino Royale.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A very great he's a very underwhelmed, not underwhelming as if he's bad, but underwhelming as people are overlooking him because if you really look at the Craig movie.
People forget he's in Casino Royale.
Yeah. But I mean, if you look at the Craig movies though, his villain was kind of a good one. He was pretty much middle management, not really a big threat. And the scenes between him and Craig in that poker scene or the card scenes, they're very good. How they both are able to play the tension in that scene. And
Yeah.
of course,
Did
Go
you
ahead.
ever watch that Netflix movie he was in?
Polar.
Polar.
Oh my god, that that was.
Was it any good? I just never saw it.
I
heard
didn't watch it either.
I enjoyed myself. It's definitely a hard R Netflix movie. Yeah, it has its use in violence, sexual nature, and even of course with language. But it actually does its job. And Mads Mikkelsen's the way he portrays his character, he's very good too. Like it's sort of like John Wick near retirement.
Yeah, that's what I had heard. It's like one of those like kind of middle-aged man, like later in his career action movies, like a Taken or like like one of the ones that Mel Gibson did a few years ago. And
Like
I like those
Godfather?
types of movies. Yeah,
I mean, the
it's like Logan, but not.
Yeah, pretty much. I think the synopsis of this movie.
Daddy's Home too.
Mads Mikkelsen plays an assassin, and he's working with this organization that hires, and funds hitmen. And one of the people in charge,
Hitman, it's his last name.
Yeah. And the people in charge, they're killing off assassins the moment they retire. And he's almost towards he's like 2 contracts away from retiring. And so when they start coming after him, he starts, he doesn't take that shit lying down. He starts fighting back.
Yeah.
There's one scene where he's in the Arctic. He's in the Arctic. He comes off very intimidating. That's personally.
I was gonna say, Chris put in there. He was great in the survival horror movie. That's another comment. Arctic. I've actually never heard of it or seen it. But
I haven't either.
I think he's a great actor, so I'm sure he was. So this is, before we move on, this is kind of a bit of an angled question, because Kevin's mentioned when he was talking that he does have a history in blockbuster films. He was in Doctor Strange as Caecilius, and he was Galen Erso in Rogue One.
Rogue One Space Dad, yeah.
Here's my thing with that is, do you think this has a potential to be a better role than those films? Because in my opinion, he was good in those films, but neither performance was great, simply because I don't think he had the writing behind either of those characters to make it a great performance.
Because it's a similar character.
Do you
like
think
Magic
that,
Man, bad guy?
Well, they're not as similar.
What I was going to get at was, do you think the writing will be here this time to push him over the edge?
I don't think so.
Because my biggest problem with the last 2 films has been the writing. I have a bit more hope now that Steve Kloves is back, because I think the Harry Potter franchise is very well written overall. So that gives me a bit more hope. But I'm just curious, because it seems like he is a brilliant actor and he does very well in a lot of the stuff he's in. I find his blockbusters are some of his weakest, honestly.
Yeah.
We also have to take into account who Grindelwald is as a person. He is not Dumbledore. I mean, he's not Voldemort. Like, he's actually the opposite of Voldemort. He's he actually cares about right and wrong. He believes what he's doing is the right thing. He has ties to Dumbledore. There's a path already laid out for him, and that's kind of, he's been blocked in with his past characters. I feel like with Galen, they already knew where he had to go and what he had to do. With Caecilius, same way. He was just kind of boxed in. But with this one, might actually allow him to break out and actually, surprise people.
And because the writing has been lacking, that may leave room for like improvisation, for anything that is new to the role that comes to it, that has a little bit more character. Because that was my problem with the role with Johnny Depp, is that I felt like he didn't have much character, and it was just kind of Johnny Depp doing caricature again. Like, he was doing Bowie this time. Like, last time he did Mick Jagger. The time before that he did Michael Jackson. And you'll get away from that this time, I hope.
But
Brian, what do you have?
But I do agree with what Aaron and pretty much. I think this series, it needs better writing, better directing involved. I mean, look, I definitely said this in one of the last time I was here, but David Yates, in my mind, he's not a great fit for the Harry Potter universe. And seeing the fact he's not able to really translate or gel with J.K. Rowling's writing even shows that even more. It was a fluke that he did well with the first Fantastic Beasts. But when you see Crimes of Grindelwald, it's clear that the story wasn't there. And with the character,
And I think that's arguable with the first one, because I actually like after I never even saw the first one before seeing the second one. I just saw the second one and jumping into that movie. I'm like, what's going on here? It's ironic because the thing I liked the best about the movie was it Zoe Kravitz?
Yeah,
Oh,
Zoe Kravitz
Strange.
is
Yeah,
Lita
yeah,
Lestrange.
Zoe Kravitz. I
Lita.
liked her for some reason, and then they get rid of her, and I'm like, she's not even in the first one. Like, why do they spend so much time on this character if they're just gonna get rid of her?
Well, it's
was
because
trying to rush it.
the writing was trying to compensate and make explain.
No, it wasn't compensating. They were trying to do the situation to force Newt Scamander to pick a side. The problem was that Rowling realized that she already she already wrote in a situation where Scamander had already chosen a side. But the problem was she was trying to set him up as this unwilling hero, and the same with Gellert Grindelwald, where if what you were saying, he has a sense of right and wrong. Problem was throughout the majority of that movie, they're trying to make him very cold and unfeeling. But then
I wish they killed the other girl.
I feel like you're being hard on David Yates, though. I think he's very good at adapting Harry Potter.
He has earned my hatred.
I know, but I'm saying as far as him adapting the books to the screen, I think he does a great job. But when he runs out of material,
there's no books here. That's the problem.
Fantastic Beasts is literally that big, and it's a textbook. And so he did what he could with the story in the first one, and then ran out of story in the second one.
Why they're having so much trouble getting
exactly. So maybe it's time to take him off of maybe it's time to find a new director.
I was gonna say in terms of the whole adaptation thing, I just honestly I think more of that has to do with Cloves. Because in my opinion, the worst written one is the fifth one, and it's the only one that didn't have Cloves on it. I think, and that was directed by Yates. So and it's not a bad movie by any means at all.
I fell asleep.
It's just, I think it's the worst of them, just in my opinion. So I think Cloves is the magic secret behind it, because I think the best one is 3, and that was Quran.
Fifth one's too angsty.
And so I think Yates just needs to do anything else. I just think he's been on Harry Potter too long. I just simply think he's been on it too long.
I would say this one thing and one thing only. I understand from Kevin's point of view that Yates was able to do well with transitioning and stuff, but that's the thing. If Yates can't be able to handle transitioning original IP like Crimes of Grindelwald was, compared to having to adapt trends like pretty much the books of Harry Potter, which he got help from Clovis. But at the same time, when you get the task of a director, and I've met and I know people who are trying, they're working, they're busting their ass off to be directors, and they always have to deal with original. They start from short films and then do web series. Like they're working with a lot of original IPs before they're even given an opportunity to do something that they funded themselves, or they get tasked onto doing a project of a movie. To me,
I have a follow-up for you, Ryan, on that though. When you're done. So you said you have a lot of friends that are directors, and it just gave me a thought. What if they did a reskin? Like if they just took because the like you said, Fantastic Beasts is a little textbook. Like they have to stick to some sort of storyline, but they have to they have some creative freedom. How many of your friends that are directors do things like reskins where they need original IP, where they'll take a script, they'll reskin it, but where it'll be an existing IP and they'll reskin it down.
Well,
sometimes
doesn't that happen? Doesn't that happen often?
So there are film festivals around where certain directors are given scripts where they have to, work off of what they've mainly been given. I think the script's maybe 50 or 70 pages long, and sometimes it takes them days on end to even put together a good to even film each scene by scene with the limited resources they have. So I'm not trying to say Yates is not good. It's just I've seen from personal experience how directors have to make things up as they go. So with Yates having the resources at his hands, it just, I don't know, it kind of confuses or boggles my mind, the fact that he doesn't at least have some direction or navigation.
It might work to have a template. Like what I'm saying is, so you had Dredd, right? A lot of Dredd 3D color. A lot of people compare that to the Raid. It's like the Raid, but it's with Dredd. A lot of people have said the Batman that Ben Affleck was going to make, that was going to be like the Raid, but reskinned with Batman. What if you're taking something like, and I'm just throwing this out there, like the Raid, but reskin it with Grindelwald, with Harry Potter, with that stuff. You take like a simple concept and then just try to make a good movie first rather than make it part of the franchise. Because I think that's what the second one really had a problem with, where it's like, this person's related to that person, this person's related to that person, this person's related.
I see where you're going with this, and this is why I say the problem lies with the writing. Obviously, I don't think the direction was all that great, and specifically Crimes of Grindelwald as well. Yates does have some of the blame, but most of it should go with Warner Brothers and J.K. Rowling. Yeah. Harry Potter were books written by J.K. Rowling that Steve... Is it pronounced Clovis? Have I been saying it wrong? Or is it...
I think it is Clovis. I mean...
I think Clovis is right.
If it's Clovis, so Steve Clovis has, adapted most of them, and I believe the other one was like Michael Oppenheimer, I think is his name, or something along those lines, or
sounds like a villain though, Clovis.
But anyways, Steve Clovis adapted, right? These are a author who had never written a film script, got told to write a film script without any actual backing or source for the universe. So the problem is she is trying to establish, like, the first one didn't do anything to establish any background for this universe, and so she tried to cram everything into.
They should have given her a non-Harry Potter movie first. Like, they should have let her stretch her legs. It's like those people that were like, "Give Dave Filoni the keys to the castle."
The thing is, I don't think she would want to. And also,
Fantastic Beasts was the perfect way to go. It should have just devolved. It should have gone Fantastic Beasts, and then. Okay, then we can take the Grindelwald story and just go a whole different direction. I disagree with that. Forget about Newt and all that. That was over here. Now we're going to go this way.
You want young Dumbledore, you want Grindelwald. That's the interesting part, right?
A Harry Potter story, whatever.
Because otherwise, it's just CGI.
I liked the Newt Scamander story of him rescuing endangered animals, because that was a good way to see another world of the wizarding world. The fact that creatures
look bad.
I feel like you just have to sacrifice one or the other every time.
I'm just saying, I know it was bad, but if we were given a second movie where it was mainly just him not thrusted into a grander plot, him actually tending to magical creatures, like a very small story, like a reskinned story, like what Nicky has been pitching to us, possibly it would have gotten us even more to understand the character of Newt Scamander, because let's be honest, in Fantastic Beasts, he's immediately thrusted into a plot, and I do love the characters of Jacob Kowalski, and I like the creatures that he had. It's just when you bring in Queenie, you bring in Tina, and then you bring in the United
Too many characters.
And then, you got the
he's
bare bones, and then you got his fake mom, and then his real mom. It's too much.
There's the Snake Lady. There's the Flash. There's
Nagini,
Bounty Hunter. There's too many
Grimson.
Like, I'm just saying, like, with JK, I understand what she was trying to tell us. The problem was she was trying to make everything so layered in. You had the humans, then you had, of course, the businessman, the newspaper man, and his son. Then his son's killed by
the senator.
Because in a book, you don't need.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. It's a movie that's written like a book, because in a book, you don't need characters to say something to give exposition about a character. Like, you can tell backstory without having to have one of the characters say it. Like, it just says it in the book. But in a movie, you need these characters to say it. So the whole entire second movie is just a giant expedition jump. Exposition jump. Expedition jump.
I was gonna say,
go ahead.
One of the things, just because I think this plays into it, one of the things that was kind of slyly put into this Grindelwald announcement was an actor who is previously not confirmed to be returning is now confirmed as being in the third film, which is, I believe the name is pronounced William Nadlium, who played Yusuf Kama in the second film. That character was almost an entire exposition dump.
Was that the Snake Lady?
No, that was the man who.
Yusuf Kama was the Frenchman.
Yeah, the
French wizard who was Lita Lestrange's half brother. Who wanted to kill Ezra Miller's character.
Oh, he was the worst.
Right. And so that's what I'm saying. So it'll be interesting. Which, here's the thing. I'm kind of glad that he's coming back in the sense of I think
Maybe.
seeing how a character like him is written will be a real test as to how much has the writing improved from the help of Clovis.
That's a
Because
good point.
if this character can be better, because he was essentially a character that was put into the film to just explain everything. He is
Yeah.
literally
And
just
we have like a mystery of it, but like, why do I care about the mystery? Like, that was my biggest thing with that mystery. Like, there's a mystery, but I don't care about solving it.
yeah.
That was the problem. We can literally break down this whole fucking movie, and we can
Oh,
even
yeah.
talk about how many motivations, how many plots are how so many collide. Like the prophecy of Corvus Lestrange, and how it coincides with Lita Lestrange's guilt.
It's written like a textbook.
Yeah,
like it's a movie that is written like a textbook.
And that's the
character
problem
has a footnote.
And that's one of the things that I think is great is like I've talked to Harry Potter fans who have read the books, and it's not an often like harped on criticism, but one of the things they do like throw out is they don't like how the movies are made in such a way so that basically anything that is lore that doesn't directly connect to the leads is seemingly cut.
Yeah, I like that.
In my opinion, there's only one instance where it falters, but for the most part, I really do like that approach to it because I think
it's a streamlined approach.
Exactly. You have to streamline it. The problem with this film is this is almost like a book draft being turned into a movie. This is the movie with the book with everything entailed in it, and now you need someone to take that and kind of pare it down and make it a functional movie.
Because even if you're good at reading books, think of how long it takes you to read a book, and think of how long it takes you to watch a movie.
Right.
I understand people when they say the book is better, but that's just not me. I'm always gonna want to see
10 years.
It's like we were debating.
I started the third Harry Potter book like in 6th grade, and I'm just like, nope. No thanks.
That's just a disgrace. But anyway,
we're X-Men movies, and we're talking about
what? Any thoughts, dude? Because I know we've all been we've been bouncing off the walls like it's a racquetball inside of like a gym or something, man.
That's exactly how y'all have been talking, and it's very interesting. No, again, I have been very open about it. I've never seen any of the Fantastic Beasts movies.
Devin, I don't think you've seen them either.
So
I didn't get past platform 9 3/4.
Wow.
Okay.
He could not walk through the wall. To be fair, that
was it just too scary, or
did you run into the wall? That's the question.
No, I just gave up.
Yeah, I could just picture Devin with a grocery cart, just running into a brick wall and then breaking all the groceries.
I can imagine. I feel like this is how it happened. Devin was watching the first movie. He paused it right as they're about to go through and thought to himself, "Do I want to go through with them?" Then he turned it off.
Nah.
No,
he stole the flying cart. Oh,
was he saw the people go through the wall? He has the cart. He's like, "No, this shit ain't real. I'm not doing this." And just walked away.
So this is kind of like the game that I was pitching before. I didn't finish pitching it, but so you know the guts glory. So what you were doing right there? We just came up with like a scenario, and then we came up with all these different like ways that could happen. That could happen. Devin,
thing you were talking about.
So no, but it was before we had went live. Like I had an idea for a game that we could play like in a voice game on air.
Well, we don't just hop on and go live immediately?
No.
No.
We were here for a little bit before we went live.
We were. So Sam Elliott, he does those great Dodge commercials, those Guts Glory Ram commercials.
Yeah.
I want to go around the room.
Dodge and Ram are the same thing.
Best Sam Elliott.
They are.
So the
Rams are the
Dodge owns Rams. Yeah.
I want all of you to think of a product
we own a Toyota
that should use that catchphrase when the copyright expires. So if when the copyright expires, another company will take that. So Guts, Glory, McDonald's. What's a brand you think that would be good on in your best Sam Elliott voice? We'll go around the room. Kevin, you go first.
Damn it.
You'd swear
Devin,
smoke
you go first.
I want to go last.
Okay.
In our Sam Elliott voices.
The first two words are Guts, Glory.
Yeah,
those
Guts,
stay consistent.
Glory, and then so
I think we literally just lost a viewer.
I wish I could just like grow a huge mustache right now. I'm just imagining that I'm twirling my huge mustache while I think about the product that I'm going to be selling.
We're
looking
coming back
at
to this
the-
at the end of the episode.
All right.
Everyone can have time.
Guts.
Here we go.
Glory.
Here we go.
PlayStation.
That was terrible.
Guts. Glory. Big Red.
Okay, that's a good one. See, that's a great one. That's a good product that you could see Sam Elliott advertising, and you could see like the catchphrase stick. Aaron,
Ha, stick.
your turn.
Like a stick of gum.
Pass.
No, you don't get to pass.
You don't get to make the rules.
It's a
do.
game, Aaron.
Just come up with a store.
I don't play games.
Guts, Glory,
I lose
Target.
Aaron
What?
says he didn't play games.
Oh,
Don't play
Guts, Glory,
games.
TMG Entertainment.
well,
Guts. Glory. TMG Trivia.
Guts. Glory.
I'm just gonna do that later. Like I'm gonna dub over one of the ads. Guts,
Please do.
and then it's just my
And then
squeaky
make a
voice. Going,
gif of that for
TMG
me.
Trivia.
Make a gif of that for me, and I'll just use it at the end of every.
I cannot wait.
every-
That's awesome.
at
right,
the end
Aaron,
of
You don't get to
video.
pass. Come on.
Good.
So Crimes of Grindelwald.
TMG.
Guts, Glory, The Crimes of Grindelwald.
Yeah, but no, seriously, on Crimes of Grindelwald, I think it can only go up from here.
Yeah.
I think
You
you're
say
absolutely
that.
right. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right about finding out if the writers are going to make a difference here.
Well,
But in my opinion, from what I've seen, the adaptations are really good, and then when there's no source material, it's not so good. So I hope that changes. But
It's the
Well,
opposite of
Thrones.
the it's the same problem as Game of Thrones that most people say it has.
Yeah.
well,
I don't
every-
agree with that, but some people do. Let's fight about that now.
I could go on about that
I've
too.
never seen Game of Thrones, so go ahead.
Here's one thing.
I was kidding, Ryan. I was kidding.
Oh, I wasn't gonna fight you. I was mainly just gonna say if we want to look at an IP that started off was original content, even though it borrowed off of a lie. I mean, this may lead into a fight between me and you, Nikki, but I'm talking about Star Wars. When it started off, it borrowed the best
Oh yeah,
fictional stories to make its own IP.
yeah.
Oh,
and
man,
Jerry
there-
had a lot of,
There's serious stuff from
It inspired
Jimbo,
Well,
Rising Sun.
inspired
Yeah.
video games, and then inspired so much more.
No,
To now, we look at other IP where they're trying to borrow off of the original trilogy.
I
The only-
completely agree with you on that.
The
I
one
couldn't
thing
agree more either.
is going to take an example out of take a page out of The Mandalorian, where it is honoring
Yeah.
what was for it, but it's still it's using it as a vehicle or
That was a
template.
Kurosawa episode, like last night.
Pretty much most of the episodes have been mixtures of westerns with added themes into them, like either heist films or breakouts, or like what we had with the Kurosawa standoff between.
And we
so-
can talk non-spoiler, just so we all know, because Jacob didn't want us to talk spoilers. We can like say things like that don't necessarily spoil it.
I mean, it was look. It's not much of a big spoiler, but if you even looked at the title of Chapter 13, when it's called The Jedi and it's directed by Dave Filoni, then it is to most, maybe not to casual viewers, but to at least people like us who like to learn a lot about Star Wars. It is a giveaway that we're going to see Ahsoka Tano in that episode.
They don't actually show the titles or the directors.
Even though I don't
Disney
think
Plus.
she's the
There were
Jedi.
leaks
They're
on-
referencing.
After Chapter 12, like 2 days afterwards, there were leaks of like so many sources saying Chapter 13 is going to be called going to be titled The Jedi.
Yeah.
Rumors,
No, it was the natural progression. I hear what you're
I
saying.
mean, it's the only one that made sense throughout the entire season. So, like, I mean, why not let him? You know, it's his baby. You know, Ahsoka is
At the
his,
same time, Ahsoka's also
Yeah.
one of his own original characters from the
exactly. So why not?
And I
let
don't
him,
think they're
the one he's
technically
gonna
Ahsoka
allowed to
has
do
already
obviously.
been referenced in the series, so you knew.
Well, yeah,
he was
but
going
I'm
to find
saying,
her.
like,
Ahsoka Tano,
but I knew it was gonna skip an episode before we actually saw her.
You did say that,
because
Kev. You
of
really
that.
did. Yeah.
I was like, you know, Dave Filoni directs, you know,
I love
the
the
next one. So
subversion. The subversion.
awesome.
Like after we got with Bo-Katan saying you're gonna go to the planet of course and you'll find Ahsoka Tano. After that episode, I remember coming across so many Reddit posts, so many people on social media saying episode chapter 12 is gonna be Ahsoka, and I'm going,
Yeah.
nope.
It's not.
They wanted you
I
to
already
think that
knew it.
so that you
Yep.
told all your friends to stay tuned.
Sure.
But
yeah.
Carl Weathers' directed episode was good.
Hey,
love Star Wars
that was a hot episode. I liked it.
And leave the jeans thing alone. Come on, guys. Mistakes happen.
Oh, I know, man.
And
One
not
one
even
simple
because there was a lot of
mistake.
vomit.
During
Jesus.
COVID, that it's a win.
Yeah.
We're all
Jesus.
shut in. People want
They could
entertainment.
shoot an entire episode of that. The best
I was
sequence
gonna
on
say.
that show. The Bo-Katan Mandalorian like
They could
sequence
have
where
like
they're
3
raiding
people in the back with
thing.
regular clothes on,
Yeah.
and I'd still be cool.
Everyone has a mask on in that sequence.
Hey, at least people no longer complain about Bill Burr's accent in the
Oh
series.
my god, I
Hey,
know.
yeah, they
Everybody
would
wants
have
him back
Boston
now.
accents in Star Wars. They have
No,
Chinese
I love
accents in
that.
Star Wars. They would have Boston
Was that
accents.
was that a
didn't mind
complaint?
he didn't
Bill
have the
Burr's
highest
accent?
Yeah, because he used up his Boston accent that he
Yeah, he uses his Boston accent.
He's not a natural actor. What the fuck does
I'm not a stormtrooper, wise ass.
It's just like,
When
why
he said
would
wise
he have a
ass, I
Boston
loved it.
accent if he's
Oh.
a
Why was
film?
Obi-Wan
And-
Scottish?
Yeah, wise ass is such a Boston thing.
I mean,
That was so
Yeah.
good.
Like British
Wise
accent
ass.
in A New Hope. Even
I
with
loved it.
even with Ewan McGregor, he started coming off a bit of like he developed a bit of like a British tone with his Obi-Wan. So the fact people
And he
want to complain about
Like,
accent,
Bill Burr was a thug.
huh?
Like he was a thug in that episode. Like he's not a good guy. So I think it's funny that they're associating the Boston accent with the criminal underworld of Star
Yeah.
Wars now.
Yeah, it
They're the
makes
bad
sense.
guys.
All right.
Oh, this is funny.
so-
Something to complain about.
I love what I was gonna say. The Star Wars
Oh.
community, it cracks me up, and the ones who just want to complain about stuff.
Jabba likes it.
Oh.
Thank you,
I was
Jabba.
gonna say I have we can move on because this is I have another story, very very different, but also very conversationally inspired. So before I read into the actual story that inspired this conversation, I have a little bit of a schooling breakdown to go over. I promise I'll make it interesting. But as was announced earlier this year, and amongst a series of changes, mostly in response to the hashtag Oscars So White movement, the Oscars will be implementing rules within the next few years to try and let me get this out before you guys go in. To try and make an attempt to expand equality within the Academy and within the Oscar-nominated films themselves. So from 2024 on, Oscars must meet 2 of the following film qualifications. They must have either major on-screen representation in the theme or narrative, which is either a non-white lead or significant supporting actor, 30% of the ensemble cast, or the main storyline or subject matter can be in something non-traditional, whether it be dealing with racial or ethnic issues, women's issues, or something to do with LGBTQ plus community.
Yeah.
The standard B is creative and leadership, which is the creative leadership and department heads on set. At least 2 departments must be led by a non-white, non-straight representative or non-male representative. Standard C, industry access and opportunities, meaning there must be allowed access for paid apprenticeship and internship on set for non-white, non-male, and non-ethnic opportunities. Or D,
but it's stupid.
D, representation in audience development, meaning representation in marketing teams, publicity teams, or distribution teams that are non-white, non-straight, and non-male. That is the most simplified version of it that I can give. But essentially, the approach, it's far more complicated, and the Oscars do put a full breakdown of it on their website. But essentially, what they are saying is in 2 of those 4 categories, whether it be your storyline, your cast, your department heads, your marketing team, or your internships on set, you must actively attempt to include some kind of equality on set so that there isn't an exclusion.
So
I'm getting there. That's
okay. I'm sorry.
So essentially, it's not and or, it's you must fall under two of them. Now, the reason that this comes up is because earlier this week, Andy Samberg was doing an interview with Variety. And during that interview, the interviewer brought up his film from earlier this year, Palm Springs, and the internet buzz behind the fact that people think the film could have a considerable shot at getting Oscar qualifications due to the lower amount of content in contention this year. That conversation naturally bled over into the Oscar So White campaign, and all of the rules have been put in place. On those rules, Andy Samberg said, quote, "This Oscars thing, people having issues with the rules they're putting in place are insane. The parameters, if you look at them closely, you could have the whitest cast in the history of cinema and still very easily meet them by just doing a few key roles behind the camera. People that have problems with it can fuck off."
Yeah.
And so the reason I'm saying that is because he is technically correct. People are misinterpreting and this happened months ago as well. People misinterpreted the rule change as, oh, they're going to force every film to be the black, gay, women, or whatever the fuck. That's not what they're doing. They're trying to create representation and equality in all departments. And so it's saying you must have an open opportunity in at least two of your departments. And what he's saying is correct. You could have a cast of all white members, but if at least two department heads are black, Asian, female, or LGBT, and let's say someone on your marketing team is black, gay, or whatever, then you meet the qualification. So it's just putting it in a rule book.
So it doesn't have to be black and like LGBT.
But also listen to this. Like, it's being blown out of proportion because the Washington Post did a review. I'm looking at it now. Past 15 years, Best Picture winners, all the way back to 05's Crash, to see how much the rules would change if the landscape, if those films came out now. The vast majority of winners, 73%, would have already met the criteria without altering any casting practices or crew hires. Others could have done so with relatively minor changes, like maybe one change here, a change there.
They should be doing more.
Yes, exactly. They need to be doing much more if they want to make actual change.
Right.
So
Ryan, I can tell you're cooking over there.
I was going to say,
I've already come across this news in the past. It was just more people were overblown over this. To me, despite the news of the Oscars, I appreciate the Oscars. They're trying to put their best foot forward. And after the constant people, I mean, there are over the constant controversy of the voting pool at the Oscars, to where most films that are being nominated or that have won awards are not just predominantly white films, but it's mostly a lot of period dramas or certain films that tends to gloriously look at the past, to where most films, like within the Black and Latino and even Asian community, where they try to adjust more modern situations, tend to get overlooked. I mean, Parasite is the most recent one that got acknowledged, even though it's not an English-speaking film. And there's been films in the past, even like within the past 2 years, that I thought could have deserved some claim, like Crazy Rich Asians, If Beale Street Could Talk, Queen and Slim.
I'll get into that one in a second.
Yeah, like there's a few, but even then, the overreaction, that was the people. But the problem is we have to look at what the reaction is going to be on the studio standpoint, because let's be honest, the way that scripts are being greenlit, there's normally a studio head out there that wants to that selects a script and wants to go through with the story. And even then, when a script is select, it goes through maybe 10, 12 different rewrites before you even get the final product. And even then, with the story itself, the casting's another issue in general. This is mainly going to affect how studios are going to move forward in filmmaking, honestly. And and I think it's going to be a mixture of good and bad. We might see more opportunities for Latino, non-binary, transgender, maybe even gay and lesbian actors. But then at the same time, they're going to be taking hits as well, because let's say they're typecasted or they're thrown in to play the stereotypical character.
Exactly, man.
It's going to be a catch-22 that we're going to have to be on the lookout for.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a really weird, interesting dilemma. And the reason specifically I pulled this out is because I think Andy Samberg's comments are, even if not intentionally, they're kind of almost accidentally insightful with something he says, where he mentions you could have the whitest cast ever. Where all this controversy and stir-up came from is the Oscar So White, where in 2 out of 2 years, we had 20 nominees in acting, so 40 in 2 years, and not one of them was not white. And that's where, or all of them were white. 40 out of 40 were white.
And Andy Samberg is Jewish, correct?
Andy Samberg is Jewish, yes.
Yeah.
But that's not what I'm getting at. So
no, I know what you're saying. I just don't like the whole entire the pitting groups of people like against each other. It seems like in this situation, the way that it was worded in those rules, because it's a lot of words. Like they're saying a lot.
And to be fair,
without it just seems like it's white people, and then everyone else is the two categories of people that they just separated into.
So here. Let me find.
Like I'm saying, Nicky, it's mainly here's
the truncated version on the Washington Post.
Yeah,
it's the crowd reaction to where they created that divide. Honestly,
yeah, they haven't done anything.
So here's what it is. So it's in breaking down. So like the one that I have here is the creative leadership or department head. So I was trying to like short it up, but like if you want me to read the full thing here, so it says
no, I don't, because
it's like 3 pages long. Trust me.
It sounds like their purpose behind like that is like, let's pretend we're doing a lot. In actuality, we're not doing anything.
Well, okay, so that's not. I don't think that's 100% the case, because the thing is,
no, it's not 100%. It's an exaggeration. I will say it's an exaggeration. I mean, it's just that the wording, they chose a lot of words intentionally.
Possibly. So this is what they dignify.
The 2 out of 4 thing intentionally. So it sounds, it looks better on paper, but it's really not that better.
This is, and I'll get into another part of this in a second. Is so essentially this is how they dignify it on their website. So it's broken down into women, racial or ethnic groups, LGBTQ+, or people with cognitive or physical disabilities, including deaf or hard of hearing. And then
those are called underrepresented groups.
I agree with that.
And racially, they break it down further as Asian, Hispanic, or Latinx, Black or African American, Indigenous, Native American, Alaskan Native, Middle Eastern or North African, Native Hawaiian or Pacific Islander, and then other underrepresented race or ethnicity.
Here's my beef with that. My beef with that isn't that like how my beef with it is that you need to treat those groups of people individually. Like you can't say that you're helping Black people and helping gay, bi, trans people at the same time. That's just one thing. We're being diverse. See? No, that's their own struggle. Like Black people have their own struggle. LGBTQ people have their own struggle. Jewish people have their own struggle. Indian people have their own struggle. They need to like make these things happen on a more individual basis. And what this is like, hey, look, we're looking at people who aren't straight and white.
Right.
So it seems like the Rooney Rule, like much what the Rooney Rule was in the NFL.
I just don't want it to lead to hires. Oh, yeah. Basically, what you're saying. I don't want it to lead
they're
to
making change
without unnecessary hires.
I just want to see. I want to see a little more. I feel like this.
But
they
also said you could take the entire cast and crew of the Irishman, and it actually qualifies under the terms. Yeah, it qualifies, and it has like barely any non-white people
I'm not against
in the cast
having the Irishman.
or in the crew, but it still qualifies. So it's like, I mean, I feel like it's going to make zero change.
I'm just against the PR.
This is
going to be a slow process. It's going to be a very slow process.
Oh, sure.
So this is what I want to get to, and it's part of the bigger conversation. And you guys may disagree with me. I don't know, because this is like the most blunt way of putting it. But I appreciate, and it is a PR move. I appreciate that on some level that they are putting these things into writing. Just in that, because obviously, as you said, if we go back 15 years, pretty much every film that's nominated or has won a major award does automatically fall into this category, even if it's not blatantly in terms of on-screen cast. It is just, behind the scenes crew. They do meet the qualifications. They're not major change qualifications. It is more just putting it in writing and saying, here, there it is. It's not the Oscars' job to change Hollywood. It's the studio's job. The Oscars are not the ones producing the films. They're just the ones nominating them. And my thing is, and this was And I appreciate what the Oscars So White campaign was about. I can't speak about struggle. I am a straight white male. I'm literally the top of the top demographic.
Yeah. Yep.
But in terms of, it's not a good look when you look at 40 nominees over 2 years and you couldn't get anyone other than a white person in there.
I agree, man.
And I was going to say, Ryan mentioned if Beale Street could talk. For me, a bigger slap in the face to any attempt at equality, even over the Oscar So White nomination problem, is the year Green Book won Best Picture. You had not one, but in my opinion, 3 films that handled race better in If Beale Street Could Talk, Black Klansman, and The Hate U Give, and only one of those 3 was nominated. Shit,
and
if you want to put,
told a very different story within the Black community.
I mean, if you want, I would even probably put Sorry to Bother You in there. It's a very different film, but it is handling the same topic.
Kinda,
and I'm saying this because Oscars are the one that grouped this in. They also mentioned disabled people.
Yeah.
You see a lot of movies where an actor is portraying a disabled person when that actor themselves is not disabled.
Yes.
That's true.
But there are movies like that. Like one of those snubs was, I think it was didn't Shia do a movie with Shia LaBeouf did a movie with disabled
The Peanut Butter Falcon.
Yeah. And they said that got stopped.
I'm pretty sure the guy, he does suffer from Down syndrome because I've seen
he does. So that's what I'm saying, where like it's a different struggle, and it's not downplaying like the Oscar So White struggle that Black actors and Black directors have. It's just one of those things where it's like that's an effort that's there and that you see, and it's you have like and I'll just say something like, look at the Avengers, Disney. And they've done a good job. They need to do more. But Disney, the Avengers, Marvel has done a good job where look at how many Black people there are in Avengers Endgame. It's great. Like how many Black people there are in Black Panther.
There's an entire country.
Yes.
Yeah.
It shows how they were able to shows how they were able to hear something, receive feedback, learn from it, and fix it all within a matter of what, from 2008 to now?
It's in the wording.
Yeah, it's
like,
possible.
These should be
it's just a matter of
like we're here to help.
This is something that's not going to happen until 2024, and it's not even going to make a damn lick of difference.
We shouldn't wait till 2024 personally, because right now every studio that is shut down under this pandemic, they should already be starting making plans. I mean, sure, they have the current movies they want to film, but I'm just saying for future films, because the studios. Hollywood has been a constant machine throughout its inception. Sure, it might stall every now and then, but it never stops. Despite how many strikes, how many unions.
It feels like the writer's strike.
Yeah, how many studios have crumbled and fallen apart. Rather, they have been like studio produced, like RKO Productions, or even if they were if they were independent, like the studio that Francis Ford Coppola had started. No matter what. It keeps going. What needs to happen is whoever are the execs involved at Warner Brothers, Paramount Pictures, Disney, and even a few others out there. Like I know Miramax still exists, but it's more of an absorbent part of a different company. But I'm just saying, movie studios have to look now at future projects and how they want to start telling stories and who they want to cast.
So there is another wrinkle in it that plays into what you're saying of looking forward. This was higher up in the piece on the Oscars website, so I didn't go over it. But so the rule will not be officially in play till the 96th Oscars, which is 2024. But for the 2022 and 2023 Oscars, film submitting for at least Best Picture, if not more awards to be added later. I don't know how they're going to handle that. But film submitting for Best Picture will be required to submit what they're calling an Academy Inclusion Standards form along with their submission of the film. And they will receive a pass or fail grade saying, did you meet the standards, as they will be set going forward, basically. But based on,
until 20, it's like I'm going to donate to charity in 2024.
So essentially, which I believe their idea behind it is, so let's say like a film submits that somehow does not meet the qualification. it's not going to affect their eligibility. What they're saying is if in like 2024 someone failed, they won't even get as far as to be considered eligible for this. Whereas in 2022 and 2023, you will be like, no, hey, you failed. Come 2024, this can't happen again.
I look at it like
But you'll still
taxes.
be
You'll
allowed
get
to
the
be
credit
voted
when
on.
you do it.
The thing is going to be very rough, especially. Look, there's so much to say here, but it's ultimately at the same time, despite even if it's going to be implemented in 2024, I still think studios need to jump on this right now. Really try to be ahead of the curve in this situation. They've been ahead of the curve a couple of times, but mainly they've always played defense. They're always reacting. Whenever, let's say, like during the 90s when you had certain slasher movies like Scream really reinventing the horror genre, or when you had action movies like the ones from Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger dictating how blockbusters were going to be done. Even comedies with the slapstick stuff that we got from Jim Carrey, Robin Williams, Ben Stiller, and all that stuff.
And all those movies were produced by those actors.
Exactly, yeah. Because
it's the producers. It's not just the studios. The producers need to advocate for those causes.
Yeah. And they were aware of, and the actors who were producers knew what they wanted to do. But yes, I do agree. The producers in general, they're constantly just following trends, and even then, you can never tell what's going to be a trend. Or
look at what Jordan Peele is doing. He's doing it. It's working. He's doing it.
Yeah, he's a genius.
Jordan, even
look at Antebellum. That's not even a movie he directed.
Blumhouse Studios found a formula that works for them, and they're able to not only craft like mostly, and I say mostly original stories, but they're also able to make a diverse cast also in their productions. So
the right producer can do anything.
They really turned Blumhouse into something. I think that was kind of cool how they did that too, because it was definitely more of like an art house thing for a while back, you know.
I think someone like Margot Robbie. Margot Robbie's another one. She's working with like Warner Brothers with DC. She wanted a female-led superhero team. And say what you will about Birds of Prey, like whether you like that movie or not. Yeah,
it's pretty kick-ass. I like it.
She fought for it a couple times. She did it.
Yeah.
So like these producers, these actors,
it took her a couple of times.
Don't scoff at them. They're the ones that are going to make this happen.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I was going to say, before we move on to one of the other topics I had up, one of us does have to leave. Kevin, go ahead, man. Where can people find you?
I appreciate it, Aaron. Thanks for having me on, guys. It's been fun. You can find me on TMG Trivia. We'd love to have you if you're interested in playing. TMG Trivia. Yeah, if you're interested in playing in singles, teams, geek, or sports or franchise wars, which are about to have the Marvel tournament coming up. I'm sure Ryan will tell you more about that. TM Geek is what I run. We are in the middle of our TM Geek tournament for the championship. Right now we are recording in between the quarterfinals and semifinals, so keep an eye out for some of these matches that are about to start dropping. Hopefully they'll be dropping a little bit more with more less time in between is what I'm trying to say. So anyway, check us out on our YouTube channel though, TMG Trivia. So if you would give us a like on that channel and join the group, and like I said, if you'd like to play, just contact either Jacob, myself, Ryan, anybody else that's an admin here, and we'll get you into a match. I appreciate it, guys, and y'all have a good night.
All right, man. Thank you for joining us.
See ya.
All right, so the next topic I had it takes it in a bit of a different direction, but actress Diane Keaton was doing an interview also with Variety, funny enough, and she was asked about the upcoming film Mario Puzo's The Godfather Coda, The Death of Michael Corleone. And Keaton confirmed that not only had that she said that the film is complete, Coppola's cut is officially finished and complete, but herself, along with other major actors from the film, including Al Pacino, Talia Shire, and George Hamilton, have actually already seen the cut. When asked about her opinion on it, she said, quote, "It was one of the best moments of my life to watch it. To me, it was a dream come true. I saw the movie in a completely different light. When I saw it way back, it was like, oh, I don't know. It didn't seem to do that well, and the reviews weren't too great. but Francis restructured the beginning and the end, and I'm telling you, it works. She went on to later give another quote when asked in particular about Sofia Coppola's highly criticized performance as Mary Corleone. She said, quote, "That's not going to happen anymore. She's what a daughter would be like if you had this guy as your dad, the head of a criminal organization. She was not so sure of herself and is kind of quiet. The character was meant to come off as haunted. I think she's fantastic." Which, if that is something that has changed, obviously that was one of the more highly criticized points of a film that overall did not receive the best reception, including from Keaton herself, who has been vocal in the past about her disliked for the film's original cut known as The Godfather Part 3. This is a movie, I saw the trailer for it for the first time in theaters actually a couple weeks ago when I was watching, weirdly enough, a John Wick marathon, but they played a Godfather trailer.
Hey,
and
it's always good to watch John Wick.
Hey, you got to go to the movies. That's what the
I did.
"oh, good for you" was for.
I know, I was undercutting that.
It was interesting. It was definitely interesting to see the trailer. And honestly, I'm if it comes out near me and you know it's safe to, I kind of think I might go see it. It would also give me a great reason to finally watch the first two. I've only seen scenes and know of the reputation of them at this point, but I've never actually fully seen them. But yeah, what do you guys think about this? And this is another example of a thing that's been happening recently where filmmakers are getting to kind of go back and take their own approach on a film that was kind of studio meddled. So what do you guys think about this?
The air cut.
I think I want the Rocky IV director's cut.
Okay, thanks for sticking with The Godfather. Anybody else?
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of torn on this one. I mean, look, I saw Godfather Part 3, like that cut really didn't impress me. And the funny thing was, I watched that after I saw the second Godfather. So the first one was like the last one I got to see. So it was like my order was 2, 3, and 1. But even then, the third one did feel a little bit off because I don't know. I guess some of the storylines some of the stories, like within the opening, everything felt so rushed. With Michael, all of a sudden his son hates him. His ex-wife is back, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, he knows you killed Fredo. And then you get the cousin or Andy Garcia's character. I know he's not cousin, nephew. Yeah, it's just so much was rushed in within those first 15 to 20 minutes before, and then the story starts to come to a grinding halt again to where they're trying to break down Michael. It's clearly like it was off to me, but then rewatching it, you see that there really was a different story that Francis Ford Coppola wanted to tell. And then we hear the rumors. I mean, the news that his daughter wasn't meant to be casted in the movie, how he had to rush through making it because at the time, the studio that he had created was unfortunately went bankrupt, and this was his way of he was making this simply money picture. I don't know. Maybe with Coda, a difference. Maybe with Coda it will be different.
Yes. So the Sofia Coppola thing, that is actually 100% true. Originally, it was Winona Ryder that was cast in the role, and at the last minute she had to drop, and so Sofia Coppola was picked as the replacement. Yeah, so one of the interesting things I remember reading about this film in particular is when one of the things that the studio rejected, when he originally pitched the film to the studio, he pitched it under the title that the new film is going under, or it was more simply just The Death of Michael Corleone, because he viewed Godfather and Godfather Part 2 as a duology, not a trilogy, and he viewed Part 3 through a storytelling lens as an epilogue, or as it's titled here, a coda to that story. It's more a conclusion and wrap up of the few loose ends left, rather than something that is meant to be completely its own entity and a third piece of this story. Especially with, like Vito, who was such a huge piece of the first two, missing. I believe that was part of the influence for this approach to it. So it seems like this is what's going to be recut. And you talked about the beginning of the film and some of the issues there. She specifically called out in the quote that the beginning is one of the things that was heavily re-edited. Yeah. So hopefully that plays more into your favor. It certainly has me very interested to see it. especially because all these years later, for him to still have enough passion and care behind the film to go back to it and make these changes is certainly interesting. We've been seeing recuts and re-edits more often, but 30 years later is not something that often happens unless it's Blade Runner doing its 6th edit or some shit.
I think the funny thing with Coppola, it was kind of funny when after Coda was released, there's this YouTube channel I follow called Patrick Willems. He did this 2-part video essay about Francis Ford Coppola at the time, because Francis Ford Coppola actually has this wine collection out where you buy it and then you compare. He has a wine paired with any of his films. And this video construction, he compared Coppola's career to that of George Lucas, where both of these men, they got into movie making for the passion of movie making, but then their paths start to divulge to where Coppola, after he made like Godfather or so, he did not want to get trapped into the corporate shell machine of like franchises or trying to be like people pleasing to the audience. But it wasn't until when he had films like I forgot the studio name, but it wasn't. But it's funny if you look at his filmography, he's had the widest range of films outside of Godfather, Apocalypse Now, and then of course you look in the 80s and 90s.
Is it the company he founded with George Lucas?
Yeah, it was meant to be sort of like an independent studio for directors.
I believe it's called Zeotrope.
Yes, that's it, Zeotrope. Jesus. Yeah, because I just remember from that video essay, the moment Francis Ford Coppola, the moment Zeotrope went under, and the funny thing was Zeotrope, it not only did a lot of funding, like just the insane stuff that the things that he wanted to do. He wanted it to be outside of the Hollywood system. He wanted it to truly be about artists putting their art forward and not having to worry about the constant red tape or from the constant, producers trying to rewrite everything they do. So when Zeotrope did go under, he starts having a career with films to where he has nothing to do but pretty much bow towards the whims of studios. One for the Heart. That's it. One for the Heart. That film that was supposed to be the shining trope of Zeotrope movies. That when that movie bombed, that was like the beginning and the end to where he went back to do another Godfather, where he did Dracula, where he did films like The Cotton Club. What?
I ripped your red tape.
Oh my god!
Screw it.
I was so focused on what I was saying. I did not even notice that. But I'm just saying, like the thing with Coppola, he wanted to be like an artist, but he was an artist that got trapped within the Hollywood system. But then when you really look at it, he got to do so many experimental films to where he doesn't have a single regret on his career, other than with George Lucas. The moment he did his passion project of Star Wars, he unfortunately got tied into it. He got roped back into it to where he had to protect his project. He had to protect his IP from movie studios to where it has become nothing but his life. Like even then when he signed away Star Wars, there were interviews where he said he wanted to get back to doing he wanted to produce or at least be behind passionate projects of filming. But unfortunately, because of the bad name and his reputation amongst the Star Wars fans, he's had to really hide in the shadows to where all he can do is maybe be a producer, provide funding. I mean, I'm pretty sure now he can be able to. He's no longer trapped on Skywalker Ranch outside of COVID. But beyond that, I think he doesn't have to worry about the fandom like really being like wanting to ask for his head anymore. I think he can finally, hopefully, start going to being a passionate film director again.
Yeah, I'll be curious. And specifically speaking about like George Lucas, I mean, he hasn't, in terms of anything he's done since Revenge of the Sith, because I looked it up. Obviously, he was involved with Crystal Skull and the Clone Wars films, but since then, he's only produced 2 films, Red Tails and Strange Magic. Both of which
he's
failed,
even said that you won't see the movies he makes. He's saying that he's only making movies for his friends and families now. That anything he makes, he's not going to have a wide release.
And, good for him on that sense. Yeah. If he, in terms of like popularity, and I had to double check that I was right. So both those films he made did actually fail financially, especially Strange Magic.
Yeah, they did.
Horribly.
What was didn't he have like an
And Red
airplane
Tails
one?
is kind of
what's
unfortunate.
that?
Which one?
Yeah, Red Tail. It was
Red
about
Tails.
the Tuskegee
Yeah,
Airman. The film was supposed to be that it was meant to be a story about the Tuskegee Airmen, or at least pretty much their time.
It looks good.
Yeah, it did. I don't know. I went back and forth in that movie. I think I liked the visual that was happening there. I think for me, with the story and just the pacing of that film, just kind of took me out of really what it was supposed to be about.
That reminded me of like when I saw Midway. Like Midway, the story, like you can give or take the story, you can give or take like the dialogue, but the visuals in that movie, like the way that they kind of adapted that sort of like Star Wars style of aerial combat that was adapted from World War II movies in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
I like kind of going back and seeing it done that way now, because whenever you see a World War II movie now, they're not doing that style of visuals anymore. Like they're doing more like, okay, we're going to get gritty. We're going to be on the ground. It's going to be, but I like those Star Wars style of visuals when it comes to like those fighter planes. So that's what I liked about that movie, is because it looked like it was directed, but like it looked like it was a Lucas movie.
The best thing I can say about Midway was it's one of the better Roland Emmerich films of the last few years.
Roland Emmerich, and I might get hate for saying this, I want him to direct a Star Wars episode. Not necessarily a movie, but an episode of TV, because I think he has the visual flair for it. Everything he does looks great, except Independence Day Resurgence. That one sucks.
It looked okay.
You made me hate Brett Spiner.
Was horrible.
You made me hate Brett Spiner.
Yeah, that movie's something else, man.
Go to space.
I just don't know. I avoided.
Let's take the fight to them, guys.
Oh God, let's move on before we get into that.
And surprising, that actor turns out to be, he gets a role as A-Train. I'm like, oh my God.
Gets a role as who?
A-Train, the boys.
Yeah, same guy.
Oh yeah, I like A-Train. Yeah, he's right.
He's in that movie.
He's lucky. He's lucky that they forgot about him.
Yeah.
I forgot about him.
Yeah.
I like A-Train though.
It was just that weird comparison. It's like, oh my God, I knew where you come from, but I like where you're at now.
It's funny because A-Train's one of those characters that we hate when we first see him, but I like A-Train now. He's cool.
Yeah,
I still like him. T. Usher.
Yeah, Jesse Usher.
Yeah, honestly,
not actually Will Smith's son.
Honestly, I don't think he's been that bad in anything he's been in since Resurgence. Like, Almost Christmas, it's not hard, but it was enjoyable.
He was in the 2019 version of. He was in the 2019 sequel.
He was.
Shaft.
He was the grandson.
That
was Shaft. Yeah, I didn't.
The movie wasn't great. I didn't think he was terrible. The movie wasn't good.
But the story and the
I liked the trailer.
The trailer.
Fair enough.
That's, like, whenever I can't say something about a movie that I saw, I like the trailer for it.
Yeah.
It's just the director pissed me
off.
off.
The laughing stopped.
The director of Shaft. Oh, fucking Tim Story.
Tim Story. Yeah.
Why does that guy keep getting anything
Fantastic
bigger
Four.
than like, you know what? Honestly, like, what was it I watched? Oh, the other day for the first time, I watched Think Like a Man and Think Like a Man 2. The sequel's not very good, but honestly, Think Like a Man is not a bad comedy. That's where Tim Story shines the best. That's a
What about
hard
Fantastic
quote.
Four?
No, those movies suck. I'm sorry.
See, here's the thing. They do suck. They do. They suck. I like watching them.
There's entertainment value in the first
They suck,
one.
but I like watching.
And I'd argue to say for the second one too. The problem is just Tim Story's direction is just.
Tim Story
good background movies.
He should not be behind films like that.
If you can't sleep in the middle of the night and it's 2:00 in the morning, put on Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Like I was gonna say, like honestly, I think he works best with like in those comedies because even something that's not full on
comedies, yeah, like Think Like a Man.
Think Like a Man. I thought Ride Along. Again, it's not art, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Honestly, I am uber excited for what Tim Story has next because I only found this out after they released the trailer, but he's actually the guy directing the Tom and Jerry movie.
Yeah,
which
there's a
only makes
trailer of
that
that
more
out there.
exciting.
There's
That-
already a trailer of that.
That movie is either going to be surprisingly half decent or it's going to be utter trash. There it
Are
is.
you
Jacob's
excited?
not.
You like the Tim Story Fantastic Four
Definitely going to
movie.
be the latter of the two.
Yeah,
Devin liked the Tim Story
can we talk
Fantastic
about
Four
the
movies, and he likes
cast
Tom and Jerry. So what do you
Can we
think?
talk about the cast that they've roped into that film? Chloe Moretz, Michael Pena,
Ugh.
Colin Jost from SNL.
Ugh.
Who else was
Ken
in it? I forget.
Chloe
Ken
Moretz,
Jeong.
God.
Well, Ken Jeong will do anything. I forget
Love
his
her.
name, but the guy who was in Deadpool 2.
Rob Delaney.
Rob Delaney.
Chloe
thank you.
Moretz, marry me.
Well, maybe
Please.
Tom and Jerry movie. Chloe Moretz, Let Me In.
Oh, I love her.
What else was she in? She's been in a couple shitty teen movies.
She was in The Equalizer.
Equalizer,
Whoa,
yeah.
whoa!
That's when I realized she was a woman and fell
I
in love with
actually
her.
like the Equalizer. Oh,
Yeah.
No. I said she was in a couple.
I don't like
shitty
The Equalizer
teen
too, where they
movies
make
as
Pedro
said The
Pascal a white
Equalizer.
guy.
he's not really a white. He has a white guy's name, but he's not white.
Who,
He-
Denzel?
No.
Pascal.
Pedro Pascal. Yeah.
Pedro Pascal, yeah.
Yeah, in the
He's
second one, like
Playing Jeremy
he's
Renner.
playing Jeremy Renner. They wanted Jeremy Renner, and then it says here's Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just like that's funny how I think the thing with Pedro Pascal, it was really fucking weird. He's of course he's not white, but he's even a white guy's name. And time back.
Oh, Dave York. Oh, that's the name.
But if you're looking back in the Tim Story directed movies, the Fantastic Four ones, Jessica Alba, she's Latina, but she's
again,
a white character, and they
that's a
white
worse one.
her in Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
Because in Rise of the Surfer, you clearly see she's got blue contacts for eyes, and
It's
she
bad.
has heavily dyed blonde hair. And even there are times you can see her skin is a little more less olive toned than it normally is.
Look at her in like a movie like Machete.
Are we talking about Jessica Alba's blonde
Jessica Alba,
job
yeah.
overall
She's
in
beautiful
that
in
movie?
that movie.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
No,
bad.
but
It's
make
bad.
you think, if you just compare her, if you
Yeah.
compare a still from her from Machete to one from Fantastic Four, you clearly see that they were changing her
Yeah.
fucking looks.
Yeah.
Dude, like I just looked it up, even on the poster, she looks so much more edited than any of the rest of them
Yeah.
photoshopped
And then
in
fast
there.
forward to
It's
Fan
so
Four
weird.
Stick. They're just adopted. They're different races.
Yeah.
It's fine. Yeah, that happens.
Yeah,
They
that's not
really
the
could-
worst
it's like
thing in
that's
that
the way to
movie.
do it.
Too. They really could have done that too. Johnny, or like Sue was adopted, and Johnny. Then you could even tell that first one could have been open the avenues of. It could have been a trailblazer of having a Latina woman cast in a white woman character and explain the fact that she's adopted to where you can have Chris Evans' character be standoffish to her because he doesn't see her as real family.
Yeah.
To even have
That was
Tina
before
Turner
people
being
thought about these
family.
characters.
Ugh.
Yeah.
God,
That would
it's-
be good though.
Yeah, it's hard looking back.
Combine those two movies. Combine the Tim Story Fantastic Four movies with Four Stick. You have one good movie if you combine those three movies.
Pushing shit into shit just makes more shit. I don't really know what the
No, because if you get those movies, like what I'm saying is that
there are elements from both that could go into a good movie. And actually,
yeah,
I'll give. I saw Chris put a comment in there. Barbershop. That's another solid Tim Story film.
Yeah, that's a solid one. I give that. It's very.
Yeah, I'll give
solid.
him that.
It's a good straight story. The
But
sequel.
then he also did Taxi with Jimmy Fallon, and that's
Man,
okay, come on, no, I think that movie's funny.
I
Oh,
remember
you're
buying
terrible.
tickets to see that in theaters. Honestly,
Oh.
I remember
It made me smile.
I was.
He was coming off a fever pitch.
Big Queen Latifah and Jimmy Fallon stand. It was kind of like, man, these two just can't. I mean, they definitely enjoyed working together, but they just could not. They just could not work together.
I like when they inhale the gas. Like when
I was
they
gonna
inhale
say-
the gas. I like that.
I don't remember much about the second Barbershop film, but I did see the third one, and that was also surprisingly pretty good. I liked it.
Yeah, I think after the second one, because I think maybe Ice Cube got more involved with the directive tone, because I know in the second one they wanted to expand the story more, focusing on the neighborhood to where a rival barbershop across the street opens, and then because the fact it's more modern, up to date, and it's gonna move leaps and bounds from the original barbershop, it became all about what's new and hip for the neighborhood or what has been a staple in the neighborhood. So, I mean, I can understand the storyline there. I think there were just some side stories that kind of through the plot. I think that's why it was better. You give me the Oh, the
what
kid.
are you talking? Oh, okay.
Because Jacob brought it. Because Jacob
Sorry, I'm easily distracted.
Being a Bond villain for a second.
It looks like Spot.
Jacob, you
No,
better
it
bring
looks
that.
like
I'm
Spot.
contributing to the video.
Jacob,
The
you
cat
better
looks
bring
like
that
Spot.
pussy to our match, man.
Jada has a cat named Spot, and that looks like her.
What?
Said you better bring that pussy to our geek match, man. Come on.
Oh,
Hi. Hi, Spot. Is
I
its
never
name
leave
Spot?
the house. So as long as it's sometime when
Look at the cat from Star
human
Trek:
will
The
be
Next
home.
Generation. It looks exactly like
we'll
that.
see.
Oh, Spot.
It's Spot.
That's a good.
She turns into an iguana in one episode.
Oh man, I've not been up to date with the original, with the Next Generation series. Honestly,
Yeah, watch that.
Stuff.
Oh, it's a good binge. Like you just throw it on, and it's like it feels like home. Anyway, Star Trek.
Yeah, Nicky wanted to talk about Star Trek. Go ahead,
All
man.
right.
Why not?
All
Go
right,
ahead.
so it's a small thing, but if you're a Trek fan out there, if you are a fan of the TNG Europe show, there was a 2-part episode where
All three of you.
what?
All three of you.
All three of us. Well, one,
What, them and the
two,
cat?
and then 3.
No, the Trek fans.
Oh.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of Trek fans. So anyway, there was a 2-part episode in the Next Generation called Unification,
There's
which
pictures
was
of that? Oh.
it was Unification Part 1 and 2, and Jean-Luc Picard meets Ambassador Spock.
That's
And
right.
it's a great episode.
Oh my god. Sorry, keep
It-
talking. Chris, thank you. Holy shit, this is brilliant. Keep talking.
So anyway, Clifford the Big Red Dog shows up and eats Ambassador Spock. No, it's a really great episode. You get to see Picard and Spock together, and then, but fast forward to now, they have an episode of Star Trek Discovery, which is a show that is about Spock's adopted sister who lives in the future or whatever. Yeah, it's called Reunification Part 3.
Unification.
Or Unification
keep
Part
getting
3.
that wrong.
Yeah. Anyway, it's about the Romulans and the Vulcans coming together, and
God,
they have like
Nicky.
Leonard Nimoy in hologram form because apparently Jean-Luc Picard was wearing a camera when he talked to him. So it's just a cool thing that if you're a fan of TNG and you haven't been watching Discovery, it's a cool thing. Unification Part 3. Unification Part 3. Watch it. Go ahead.
All right. Sorry.
Give me your big fucking dog now.
I have to bring this up. Holy fucking shit, look at this.
Yeah, I know what you mean. The trailer. Yeah,
That's
here
an
we go.
atrocity. That is an atrocity.
That is incredible.
That's a small dog that's been painted red.
I'm so excited for this movie. Oh my god.
That's a small dog that's been painted red. It's not even a big dog that's been made bigger.
Why does it look so real but so fake at the same time? This looks like a
Hold
deep
this
fake
dog next to Peter Dinklage in Infinity War.
Who thought this was a good idea?
Same concept.
What
It's
happened,
the
Jacob?
Sonic movie. I said, who thought this was a good idea? It's like the original Sonic movie all over again.
Oh, no, no.
There should be an original Sonic cut.
Involved.
This is a real
Honestly-
dog.
Honestly, I expected like a Smurf CG style film. I did not
No.
expect this. Oh my god.
This is like Air Bud, but bigger.
I hope
Yeah.
YouTube takes this as the clip out for our image of the episode. This
Oh, I
is
love it.
incredible.
Everybody make your horrified face. Ugh.
Jacob looks like he's getting fucked.
cute.
What is that face, man? Come on.
That
It
dog.
looks like it's gonna
horrified
eat the
face.
smaller dogs. Like those little dogs, they're like ants to it. It's
It's
like,
not my
yum, yum,
orgasm
yum.
face.
That
Come on,
is,
Aaron.
oh, dude, that is incredible. I love this dog. Oh,
It's a
that's
cute
so good.
dog. It's just not a big dog.
That is.
I like the corgi.
Corgi in the picture.
The one closest
You know what though?
to me,
They
that's
make
the-
it like cats. They just
the
make the
best dog.
sets incredibly tiny.
Oh,
shrink a couple humans. Yeah.
Yeah.
The movie Downsizing
Yeah.
with Matt Damon.
Downsizing with Matt Damon, except now there's a big red dog that they just spray painted.
Oh no. Okay, hold up. I'll
Except
take,
it doesn't turn into a climate change movie at the end.
I'll take.
They
that
should have made
message.
it Clifford the glow-in-the-dark dog.
Hold up.
It's a
can I just
dog that
say,
lives near a nuclear plant.
This is a movie that is going to go down. I can't believe this and Tom and Jerry are getting made at the same time. So
Yeah,
the
but here's the
genius.
thing: will it
So hold
even
up.
be in theaters?
Yes, they bumped it to 2021. It was supposed to come out this year. They bumped it to end of 2021 to
Okay.
keep it in theaters.
So they kept it in theaters. Wow, see this big red dog in IMAX.
All right, here we go. So the genius that's directing this film is a man by the name of Walt Becker, who is behind such classics as Van Wilder, Wild Hogs, Old Dogs, and Alvin and the Chipmunks 4.
Wild Hogs. Wait, Wild Hogs and Old Dogs. I didn't know he did both.
I'd rather watch Tim's Story Marathon.
I get those two movies confused all the time. Old Dogs and Wild Hogs. I always get those two confused. I had no idea he made both of them.
Both
Yeah.
of them have John Travolta as a starring lead.
Yeah,
I don't know which one of them I like.
Neither are very good.
Which one of them has Tim Allen?
Wild
That's
Hogs.
Wild Hogs.
Wild Hogs.
Okay, I like that one.
And that's what is that what Martin Lawrence and William H.
It had
Macy?
Ray Liotta in it.
I think that's the one, right? Yeah, it had Martin Lawrence and Bill Macy, William H. Macy.
Wild Hogs, yeah, Wild Hogs. William H. Macy, John Travolta, Tim Allen, and Martin Lawrence.
And Old Dogs was.
And Ray Liotta was in that one too.
Yeah,
Old Dogs
was Old Dogs?
Robin Williams.
And Seth Green and Justin Long.
Oh, yeah, that one was shit.
And Connor Rayburn.
Wild Hogs, I at least laughed.
Kella Preston.
Oh god, Kelly Preston, wasn't it? Yeah.
For some reason, Tim Allen does it for me, and it's because of Galaxy Quest.
Well, Tim Allen, he has, unfortunately, that dude has a ceiling. And he just doesn't know when to.
Yeah, no, but it does it for me. Like those Santa Claus movies. Those do it for me.
Hold up, I didn't think Scoob was that bad. Here's the
no,
question.
Scoob was horse shit.
Will either one be worse or better than Scoob? I didn't think Scoob was all that bad.
So there are straight-to-video Scooby-Doo movies that are better than Scoob.
I'm sure, but I don't watch those. I watched Scoob, and it was fine.
Devin made me watch those, and I hated them. But I hate Scoob more.
As a movie in its own entity, it was fine. It's not like they ever advertised it as your classic Scooby-Doo adventure.
No, but what they did advertise it as was that it was going to be Shaggy and Scooby when they were young. That was what their big marketing campaign relied on. They were like, "Hey, look, yeah."
And then they recreated the title sequence, and then they just had them ground up.
Devin hates it, and he loves Scooby-Doo.
I thought it was fine, honestly. It's certainly not the worst film to come out this year.
What is?
In my opinion, is
it New Mutants or New
No, I
Cute?
haven't seen New Mutants.
Oh, you haven't? Anya Taylor-Joy is hot.
I am probably most likely tomorrow going to watch New Mutants. I think
it's not horrible. It's slow, but it's not bad.
Well, I was just always unsure if I wanted to watch it or not, whether if it was good or bad or not. I just wasn't sure actually because
imagine Glass if they did something at the end of that movie.
That's the weirdest comparison ever.
Yeah, but if you don't compare that,
it'll make sense.
A lot of expectations for Glass.
Yeah, me too.
Technically speaking, in my opinion, the worst film of the year is Cats, not the one from last year. There's a different animated film that's essentially on the level of Norm of the North, but worse, that did technically get a theatrical release, so I watched it. But if we're talking like wide releases everyone would have heard of, I thought Doolittle was shit, Fantasy Island was shit, Like a Boss was shit, Artemis Fowl was shit.
Artemis Fowl was terrible. Artemis Fowl
wasn't very good. Capone wasn't great. Magic Camp on Disney Plus wasn't great. I actually thought Call of the Wild
Dog
was
Atrocity,
okay.
yeah. Speaking of horrible dogs.
Yeah, Scoob is right in the middle. I gave it a 6.
If you put an actual dog next to Harrison Ford, who do you pity more, the dog or Harrison Ford? I pity the dog because it's got to deal with Harrison Ford.
Yeah, but that's the thing. They didn't use an actual dog. That was a monster.
They used a person.
That was a monster. That wasn't a dog.
They did
That's
use
why
a person.
I felt better that it wasn't an actual dog.
dog atrocity. Every time I saw the trailer for that movie, it's like it's not a dog.
I mean,
Because it wasn't.
No.
But do you know what is a dog?
Dog. No. Yeah, see, that's
is
a dog.
Yes.
It's not a
That-
big dog and it's not a
Dude,
red dog, but it's a dog.
I don't know if that's real. That looks deep faked. That looks like they fucked with it in
So
some
here's
way.
what it is. It's not Clifford the Big Red Puppy. It's Clifford the Big Red Dog. So maybe this isn't his final form.
Yeah,
That's clearly a puppy.
That looked a little small.
That's clearly a puppy that they
I'm
just
pretty sure that
maximized.
see Clifford as a pup, but then of course once we get to Clifford as an actual dog, it's gonna look bigger than a guy. Like that's supposed to be Clifford as the size of as 7 or 8 Great Danes combined. I'm pretty
I want
sure.
to see. I want to see Clifford, but it's like Godzilla. He's just stepping on everything. He's got atomic breath.
So here's my favorite. Let's make this more entertaining. I think I've mentioned on the show before, but do any of you guys know who is voicing this dog in the movie? Because it talks.
Voice?
What?
It talks.
I just
Bill
found out
Hader.
this movie was a thing, so.
You lost
No.
the fact that this dog's gonna talk.
Give us a hint.
It's well. I was just gonna. I could probably give you a hint. Let me look at this, guys. Okay. Here's a hint. It was an In Living Color cast member.
Oh no.
What?
Give me another
David
hint.
Allen
That hint
Greer.
sucked.
That hint's what?
David Allen Greer is the voice. He's a
I don't
comedian.
even know who that is.
He's a comedian. He was on In Living Color. He was also the
I've
mailman
never
in Jumanji.
seen that show.
He was in Jumanji.
OG
Which one is he in
Jumanji?
Jumanji?
In the original
94
Jumanji.
Robin Williams one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know who he is.
OG
Yeah.
Jumanji.
I was thinking recent actors for some reason.
No, yeah.
What was the last thing he did?
Who? David Allen Greer?
Yeah.
Let me look. I can pull it up quickly.
Clifford the Big Red Dog.
Oh, that,
Well,
yeah.
duh.
He was in another shitty film I saw this year on Netflix called Coffee and Kareem. That was fucking terrible.
Coffee and Kareem?
Yeah, it's Ed Helms
Oh
and
my god.
Child. It's awful.
That's the
Weird.
best title.
What else? He was in The Big Sick.
The Wiz Live. Little
Coffee
Man.
and Kareem sounds like a talk show with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Wait,
Little
do that,
Man.
please.
He hasn't really done many movies in the last couple of years. He was in The Big Sick. He was a voice in Astro Boy. He was in
2009?
Bewitched.
Oh, you woke
Little
Devin up.
Man. You see it?
No, no. Not
Little Man.
Have y'all
Man.
seen this movie?
Yes,
Is
I
it?
have seen
Yeah.
that movie.
Oh, Little
unfortunately.
Man. This is so great.
Little Man and Clifford the Big Red Dog together.
These are gonna be-
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yes.
Yeah, when you say Astro Boy, are you talking the one from 2009 or the series from 2005? Or
At
3?
the 2009 movie.
Right? The movie with
Yeah, the
voiced
movie.
by more Nick Cage. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was in that one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Late.
I'm trying to look. The movie also features British stand-up comedian Jack Whitehall, John Cleese, Sienna Gilroy, Keenan Thompson, Rosie Perez, Tony Hale. How the fuck they get all these people in this movie? What do they have?
Tony Hale has been doing some good voiceover stuff lately.
Tony Hill. Well, I'm pretty sure Tony Hill's good. I'm not. That's gonna be even more confusing.
Yeah.
Are we gonna get like a mix? Is it gonna be kind of like where David Allen Greer is the only voice actor involved, or is it gonna be a fucking situation like Garfield to where
Everything talks.
All the animals are probably going to talk.
Okay, here we go. So I have a synopsis as well. As Emily Elizabeth struggles to fit in at home and at school, she discovers a
God.
small red puppy who is destined to become her best friend. When Clifford becomes a gigantic dog and attracts the attention of a genetics company, Emily and her uncle, played by Jack Whitehall, have to fight the forces of greed as they go on the run across New York City. Along the way, Clifford affects the lives of everyone around him and teaches Emily and her uncle the true meaning of acceptance and unconditional love.
Tell Emily to stop being so selfish. If we could find out what made this dog so damn big, we could end hunger on Earth.
So it is.
So Emily,
puppy.
stop
This is
being so
Clifford the
selfish.
puppy.
Your dog needs to Like, give your dog to science. It'll save the world.
Oh god, I'll take that off the screen.
Fucking Emily.
I fucking
Emily,
love this.
greedy little. She's the greedy one. That's what she needs to learn.
There will officially be 3 tabs open on my computer now, because on my computer there's always 2 tabs open. There's always a YouTube tab open so I can get to whatever I'm watching quick, and my calendar's always open. I will now also always have that image open on my computer.
Just save
I
save the time. Save it as your desktop background.
I'm gonna have nightmares about that.
Oh, thank you, Jacob.
Welcome. That's what I'm here for.
Make it as the background on my phone. Be like, hey guys, look at this.
Yeah.
It looks like something I saw earlier that wasn't.
Oh my god. Oh god. And the thing is, he looks so soft. He would make a great carpet.
Me or the dog?
No, Clifford.
Well, Nicky's talking about this dog can end world hunger. It's like not everyone
It
loves
could.
Chinese food, but okay, Nicky.
Hey, if you can make every animal, you can make cows that big. You can make cows that big. You can make fish that big. You can make pigs that big.
Then fast food.
Imagine the bacon that would come off that pig.
Please. We should be learning the ways of our ancestors. How when we killed an animal, we ate every part of it, not just the meat.
I'm gonna
Then
eat that.
all growing up a dog that size.
Good night, everybody.
No, I'm just saying. It's just really weird. A genetic company. Oh, of course.
We're gonna make people huge.
I miss the 2000. I miss the good old 2000s where it was just about fame and glory. It's like, oh wait a minute, we should show this dog to TV news station. We're gonna be rich and famous.
And make them play basketball.
Yeah. Yes. I don't mind that. Clifford learning how to play basketball, or heck, it becomes part of the world's largest frisbee competition. Anything that more.
It's like monster trucks all over again.
Clifford.
Ugh.
I don't want to live in a world where this happens.
Well, too bad they're making the dog realistic instead of this being an animated movie.
Oh, at least it's not the Harrison Ford dog atrocity. Like, at least it's not that.
Oh. All right. Well, we can get out of here in just a little bit. But I have one more thing I'll pitch here. One of the big blockbusters that's supposed to come out next year, apparently, sort of, if the year even happens, is Godzilla vs. Kong, which is set to release next May. However, according to a report from THR, apparently Netflix put in an offer to Legacy of in excess of $200 million to attempt to acquire the film.
Nope.
But Warner Media blocked the deal.
Yeah.
And released a statement stating that as of now, they have plans to release Godzilla vs. Kong in theater. And they put out a kind of public warning statement saying if things should escalate to a point where we can only see a streaming release as the only viable option for this to make money, it will go to HBO Max and nowhere else. They will not be allowing other studios to purchase it.
I need to see this on the biggest screen possible. This is Godzilla versus Kong, for fuck's sake. These are giants. Yeah. They need to be giant.
Well,
exactly.
Yes.
That's all there is to say about this. It's Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah, I got nothing to say about it either. We get more focused on the monsters and less on the people, then yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah. No more incest twins. No more stupid Bostonian bullshit.
What? Incest twins? Hold up, what?
Yeah, you got me there.
Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver?
Oh, for the love of God.
Oh,
all right.
husband and wife? Okay.
God, he couldn't even make it through one MCU movie. He doesn't count.
That was easier to say than the actors' names.
You could just
and
say
he's come
Aaron
back on
Taylor.
WandaVision, so
that's not confirmed. But anyway,
WandaVision. Come for the vision, stay for the incest.
Oh God! Oh,
that's what people said about Game of Thrones. They're like, Game of Thrones, come for the dragons, stay.
He's finished for the night, Devin.
It's a joke.
Let people know where they can find you.
You can't.
All right, Papa West, where can people find you?
You can find me all over the place. I'm a pretty easy guy to find. But you can find me all over TMG Entertainment, and just like Kevin, TMG Trivia, where I run the teams division and help run TMG Sports.
And Mr. Payne, where can people find you?
Guys can definitely find me on TMG Trivia. Been running franchise board. As Kevin alluded to before he left, I am starting franchise wars. Will be coming back next year, 2021. This huge tournament that's going to be all about every single theatrically released Marvel movie. That's Marvel and the MCU. I've already closed shop on accepting people who wanted to play. So whatever people we have, they're going to be playing next year, and we're just going to be getting to work.
Wow. Absolutely. We have the Geek Tournament right now. We have the Marvel Tournament next year. I'm sure there will be a teams tournament at some point. A lot of exciting things happening. And my name is Aaron Knoll. On behalf of everyone here at TMG and on behalf of this beauty, thank you so much for watching TMG After Dark. We will see you guys next time. There is only one way for this show to end.
Ruff, ruff.
I had to scroll down to take him out. Thank you guys for watching TMG After Dark. I will leave you with this, and we will see you next time.